Hey, Monty.
Hello.
How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man.
Good, dude.
Thanks
Welcome
for having
back.
me. Thank you.
Yeah, so we're here in my dining room in wonderful Martinez, California.
All right. Thank you
Hanging
for
out.
hosting today.
Of
Appreciate
course.
that.
Yeah, we got Gordon, my
Gordon.
best friend, the little Gordon the Golden Doodle, hanging out under the table,
Yeah.
keeping us
Keeping our feet warm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, again, thanks for having me over here.
Yeah, buddy.
This is a nice setup. I wish you guys could see the work that Marcus Jackson Photography has put into this room.
Yeah.
It is an amazing setup, and, anybody that needs a podcast or wants to do anything similar to this, I would highly recommend his services.
Yeah. Podcast, photography. He's done headshots
Headshots,
for me.
weddings,
Yeah.
all that kind of fun stuff.
No.
So,
And just
thank
pleasure
you, Marcus.
to be around.
Thank you, Marcus, for having us here. We appreciate you
Marcus behind the scenes on the ones and twos.
making it happen.
Yeah.
So, all right. What do we want to talk about? Behind the deal. That's what our podcast is we're going for here, is behind the deal, so that we can kind of let people know that it's not just sign a contract to get a listing, put a sign up, and then make your 25% profit. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like that's
Yeah.
not how the game really does work. And yeah. And I think that some people need to understand what all goes into it before they start talking about percentages and how much realtors make and all that, because I know you personally, I know your work ethic, I know what I've seen you do on homes that we've inspected, and I'm pretty sure if you break down your couple percentage points that you got off of that deal and you break your hourly investment into it, you're not making rock star wages. I mean, you're doing okay. You know,
Right,
a nice
right,
house
right.
and a nice
No.
life and everything, but it's not the get rich quick scheme that a lot of realtors that get into the business think it's just going to be so easy. I'm just, everybody loves me and I know people, and then I'm just going to, make $1 million my first year.
No, it doesn't quite work that way.
No.
We get compensated well. We work really hard. It's not 9 to 5, and we eat what we kill. So there is no guaranteed paycheck, right? Like, you have to work hard, which I like. It's the first time in my life where I actually feel like I'm appropriately compensated for the effort that I put in.
Okay.
And so behind the deal, I generally start we'll talk about listings, right? Because that's oftentimes when we call you. Once I've signed the listing contract with the seller, you're generally one of the first calls I make, unless the house needs to be cleared out. Like, okay, we're going to talk about, I've got a listing coming up in Richmond. Got a phone call from an agent in Delaware who has a client in Delaware whose father passed away that lives in Richmond.
Okay.
They need my help.
How did they find you?
She is a Keller Williams agent.
Okay.
I'm a Keller Williams agent. She looked me up online, read some reviews from past clients, and was like, that's the guy. We had a conversation on the phone, and she was like, yep, you're the guy. I talked to her client later that day on the phone for about 35 minutes and really just kind of fleshed out what was going on. Mm-hmm. She had been to this house once in her life, afraid of flying.
Okay.
Father got sick. She came out for a week. At the end of the phone call, she said, "You've made me feel so much better." And that's why I got chills when she said that, right?
Yeah,
that's what I do, right? So through this adventure, she has a lot of family that she doesn't really know out here, right? She got to know her father later in life. He would go visit her there, but cousins, aunts, uncles, the California side of the family doesn't know her. And so she's the one that's been entrusted by her father to handle this estate.
Okay.
It's a lot of animosity.
A lot of, it sounds like there's a lot
Right.
of moving parts and
Yeah,
different aspects. And so you're not just going to sign a deal?
Not just going to sign the contract, put a sign in the yard, and collect a check.
All right, so maybe I won't be a realtor.
So
That sounds like real work.
Right. So I now have there's a family member that lives in Kentucky that I'm going to take some artwork, some carvings that one of the other family members did, and I'm going to ship them to him because he wanted them. I had to make several appointments at the house to coordinate person A coming in to take A, B, and C out of the house, person B coming in to take D, E, and F, and make sure that their paths don't cross because they don't like each other.
Wow.
The next door neighbor is holding the title and the keys to a car hostage that's sitting in the driveway that the deceased person owns, but this guy has it and wants $500 to give this, right? So these are the types of things that us as realtors deal with.
You haven't even got into marketing or selling
No.
or letting anybody know this home exists yet.
Right.
You're just on the front side of just getting ready.
Right. You haven't even come in to inspect it. The house is chock full of stuff, right? So
you got to get somebody to clear it out before I can even. You've got to coordinate all these different people. And now once you're sure that, okay, everybody has everything they want, we're good.
Yes.
Now I can have a company come in and declutter and haul it away and go through that.
Exactly.
And you coordinate that too?
100%.
Wow.
She's in Delaware. She doesn't know anybody here.
So you're not her realtor. You are her liaison in this area to cover everything to help this process along.
I often find that one of the first things that I say to potential clients is, what can I do to help? And it's not conscious. It's just how I've been taught. This is what we're doing.
That's just how you are. I know that about you personally. That's how. If I call you up and I say, "Hey, I've got this issue," you're like, "What can I do?"
Right.
Like, before you hear the issue, before anything else, it's, "What do you need?
How do we make it? How do we get from the problem to the solution?"
Yeah.
Like, that's my goal. So now today is Wednesday. The cleaner, the purger, right, came in, took care of everything. It took him 4 days. That's how full this house was to get everything out of the house. Today, the sewer lateral inspector is coming. They're going to make sure that the sewer lateral is in good condition. If not, she and I are going to talk, and either they'll take care of it on the seller side or the buyer will take care of it. But it's something in the city of Richmond. As a realtor, I know that's mandated.
Right.
We have to have a clean sewer lateral inspection. Then tomorrow, the actual cleaners are going to come out, do a deep cleaning. And this is what my listing coordinator schedules, right? I tell her all the things that need to happen. She tells me when I need to be there and when the other people are going to be there.
Gotcha.
You know, when I first met with her, she said, okay, I need a list of all of the subcontractors that you really like to use so that she knows to call Monty when we have an inspection.
Gotcha.
So after the cleaners come in, we're going to get the carpets cleaned. And then cleaners will come in and then you'll come in.
Okay.
You'll do your inspections. And then the carpet cleaners will come in. And then we're going to put it on the market. I'm going to go over the inspections with the client and she will determine, I'll explain them all to her and she'll determine, okay, in this market, do I want to take care of any of these items?
Right.
Will it be beneficial monetarily? And do I even want to?
Right.
So she'll make that decision and then we'll put it on the market. It'll be on the market. Probably my plan is 12 days to capture 2 weekends of open houses.
Okay.
And then set an offer date so that we can pool all of the offers together. It tends to work better that way for the seller, which my fiduciary duty is to get my seller the best price with the least amount of headache that I can.
So you don't, when the offers come in, I didn't understand that. Because I thought they just kind of trickled in as people did it. But then you have like, this is our date. Everything has to be in. And then you take all of those and you have them in front of you at once so you can compare apples to apples. And
It tends to work out better. And sometimes, depending on where the real estate market is and what corner of the real estate world, what geographical area you're in, you have to look at the market as a realtor. I have to see, okay, are the houses that are similar to mine getting multiple offers? And there's a couple of things that play into that. Pricing, condition, and marketing. Those are the three things that will determine how well your home does.
so does that change your strategy so that like sometimes you have, this is my drop dead date, or sometimes you have a hot market and you're like, hey, that's the best offers came in so far. Let's take that one. Or that's a good one to look at.
If it's a hot market, I'll put my drop dead date.
Okay.
I'll do marketing. I'll do a ton of marketing up front. I'll price it accordingly. So the idea, the concept, market your list price is a marketing tool.
Okay.
It's not the price that you're hoping to get.
So explain that.
So my job is to find the value of the home.
Okay.
Right? So when I go in, I assess, I do all of my digging, and I go, okay, I think this house is worth $800,000. If it's worth $800,000, I'm going to price it just below $800,000.
Okay.
I want to create interest. I want to drive traffic to that house. The goal is multiple offers because then we hold the cards. The ball's in our court to determine, okay, I have 5 offers. I have 3 of them that are pretty decent and they're close. So then I can counter those 3, see where, and all the while communicating. Communicate. If you're a realtor, communicate. Reach out to the other side before you submit an offer.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I've had multiple offers, and because one person has been communicating with me the whole time, telling me the scenario, I want to work with that person. We're going to be in business together for 3 to 4 weeks. I don't want to babysit someone. And so if we have 2 offers and they're close, and this person's been talking to me the whole time, I know that they're professional. Like I can see through the conversations we've had that they're going to be easier to work with, and they're going to do everything they can to get this to the finish line. And this person has submitted an offer, and maybe it's $10,000 more, but I literally don't know you. Then I'm going to tell my client, hey, why don't we talk to offer A, see if they can match this price. We'd much rather work with them.
Right.
If it's just a couple of dollars that are separating the two, or if it's one condition, let's say these guys are dollar for dollar the same, but the one that's not communicative, they don't have A, B, or C contingency, or they want X. We can ask the other one to come and match them because we'd really just much rather work with them.
Nice.
So
it works like when I have a realtor, or let's say I have a buyer, and they call me and they say, hey, we want to buy this house, but we saw that there's this issue, and it came up in the report. How should we deal with that? And if it's something that's fairly simple, then I'll say, okay, well, this is the process. If you can do it, or somebody's handy, da-da-da. But if it's something that involves a professional, a lot of times what I'll tell them is, hey, go to somewhere like Thumbtack or go online, get some referrals, and then you'll get 3 or 4 people that'll reach out to you. Out of those 3 or 4 people, you find the one that you seemed like you got along with, that you had a connection with, that you'd want to do business with, and then you find the person that gave you the best price, and then you go to that guy and you say, hey, can you match this guy, because I really want to do business with you, but this guy's got a better deal. Can you match that price? And then most of the time they will, so then you end up working with the person that you want to at the price that you want it to. So
right.
That's how I direct people when they're dealing with contracts. A lot of people don't know how, to you and I, that's common sense. To people who are not in the trades or haven't been in this type of business, it's like, oh, I can do that. Of course,
Yeah.
talk to a couple people and,
Right.
figure out who you like and then figure out the best price and go from there.
Especially people that are first-time home buyers. They've been renting their whole life. They're looking at this one thing and your name is on the inspection. They're like, what do I do? Wait, it looks like there may have been moisture. What does that mean? And so they
Right.
can
And then
reach
I
out to
say,
you.
yeah, if you read the thing, it says there's some stains in the attic, but you also have a brand new roof. So there's a real good chance that that's an old stain. And all we're going to say is, hey, take a look at it next time it rains. Just make sure, or call us next time it rains and we'll come out and take a look at it. But we put a moisture sensor on it. We looked at it. We don't think it's going to be a current issue, but that's why we had to put it in there. So
Right.
you run into that. I had one yesterday where the guy said that we were contradictory information in our report because we said that the attic area could be used for storage, but shouldn't be for long-term heavy items. I forget exactly how it's worded. It sounds more professional than that. But and then it also said that due to insulation, components of the ceiling were not visible for inspection. And he felt that, how you said it wasn't accessible, but you could look into the attic and so we had to break it down. It's like, no, we could see in the attic and we could tell there was enough room to store stuff up there, but we couldn't actually see all the ceiling joists because they're buried under 2 feet of insulation and we can't move all the insulation to check all of them. So he was like, oh, I never thought about it like that.
Right.
And because people, I've had people that get upset because they had issues with their roof because they didn't clean the gutters. Because and they're like, well, how am I supposed to know that? And so we put that kind of stuff in our reports now. Your gutters were clear at the time of inspection, but however, annually you'll want to inspect them and clean them and and people are like, oh, well, thank you.
Right.
So it's part of our job, I think, from both of our perspectives is I tell people all the time, our main product is peace of mind. We're not selling a pretty report. We're not telling people how skilled we are. We're going through and we're using those pretty reports and our skills to help them feel comfortable with the decisions, whether it's on the selling side or the buying side. You want to, like you've got one, and let's say that the one that you had that needed a new roof. And so you can factor that into it. And so like I'm going to put it on the market at 800,000 and I know that a new roof is going to be 25,000. So that's going to be a point that's going to come up. We've already went out there through our roofing company. We've given you a proposal so you know exactly what it's going to cost you. And so when that person says, oh, it needs a new roof, that's going to be $50K. You're like, no, it's $22,500.
Right.
So that's the research that you do as a good realtor.
Right.
As someone who does their homework, who's one of the things that we do is we have those systems that we were talking about before. And the reason we have those systems, because we've been in situations without those systems where something come back to bite us. And so, for example, I'll tell my lead inspector when they get there, because most of the time when we do these package deals, we'll have a home inspector, we'll have a roof inspector, we can have a separate sewer lateral guy out there, we can have a different person, a pest inspector. So there's different people out there. And because we're coming from different appointments at different times, not everybody shows up on time.
Right.
And so one of the things that I stress to my home inspector, because they're usually the point, they're the lead inspector on the project. So when they get there, introduce yourself, find out who the different people that are there. Are you a buyer? Are you a seller? Are you an agent? Or figure out who you're talking to, right? And then you can kind of tailor what you're saying to that person. But the other thing you want to do is on your way there, you want to have checked with these other people that it's on your calendar that Carlos and Tina and Jose are going to be showing up today. So you've reached out to them and you've verified, okay, Carlos is going to be here in a half hour, Jose is going to be here whenever. So you have an idea. So when you get there and you do your introductions and you find out, you say, okay, I'm going to be doing the home today and the foundation. And Carlos is going to be here, excuse me. Carlos is going to be here in about a half hour. He's going to do the pest inspection. And then Alex will be here in about 15 minutes and he's going to fly the drone and do the roof. And so that way, while you're doing the inspection, somebody doesn't come up and go, hey, I thought we were getting a roof inspection. Oh, yeah, he'll be here in a minute. And
Right.
then, so by having that system in place and doing that full introduction, giving them an expectation, a realistic expectation of what it's going to take. And I think that's another key thing is setting expectations. Realistic expectations, but going through that process makes the whole process so much smoother and easier and less hiccups. And I think that on a different scale, that's what you guys have to do, because you're trying to head off in your experience. This is something that happens. And if I don't do ABC, D might happen. But if I do ABC, we can skip right on to F. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so by your experience in applying that, I mean, you have a system already. You might not have it down on paper, but you have a system. And so that's what I found out when I'm going to these business coaching things to get my everything lined out. And one of the things I found is we have a lot of systems, but not all of it is fully documented. And because I know it doesn't mean everybody knows it. And so that's a big part of what I'm doing now with our systems, to just make everything more consistent, primarily so it makes it easier to train the new people, to get everybody to the same quality, consistency, and standards as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you realize it, but it costs me about $40,000 to train up a new inspector. And so from the time that I bring them on board until the time that they are generating revenue, it costs me $40K. And so we want to make sure that we're doing it effectively, and we're doing it in a way that we want people to want to stay, and that we're filtering out the people that don't fit our culture. Like, I didn't even understand what a business culture was until a couple years ago. And then it was somebody was explaining, and it was like, once I firmly grasped it, it was really easy to go, he fits, she fits, he doesn't, because you could just tell it's like, he's not one of us. He doesn't think like we do. And we have a mentality that's a lot like yours. I think it's why we get along, is above and beyond's the minimum. You know what I mean? I can phone this in, I can check a box, I can do whatever, but that's not how I want to treat people. That's not how I want to be treated. And so when we're doing our inspections, or we're doing the things for you, we're not just noting this is bad, call a pro. We're like, okay, I've been a general contractor for 33 years. I kind of am a pro, And so in my reports, we tend to this is the issue, this is the cause and current condition, and this is the solution. And sometimes that solution is put a $20 rain diverter or splash block under your downspout to keep your foundation from settling. It's a $20 fix that prevents $20,000 down the road. And so I think that it's really important. What I see you doing, when I see the experienced, really good agents, is they're not afraid of a home inspection. They want that information because now they can control the pace of the deal or the outcome, because it needs a new roof. So you don't get hung up waiting on an estimate down the road. That the sewer lateral is going to need to be certified and done. So you've already got that set up. You've already got these things in place. And then the other side of it is, not only are you building that seller's confidence in you and in your process and in the outcome that you're trying to accomplish for them, then when the buyers come in and they see that detailed report, that is obviously it's nitpicking all the little things in there because you want to be aware of it. So in case they get an inspection and then that guy wants to prove how smart he is and how valuable it is to get that second inspection, so he's looking for anything he can to add value, to show why he's there. And so they're going to have a tendency to inflate issues and make things seem a lot worse. And even if they don't, they're going to bring up something that maybe we saw that crack in the foundation and we was like, that's no big deal. But if we don't note it and somebody else does, now it becomes an issue. So we put it in the report and we say it's not a big deal. And then maybe a newer or less experienced agent goes, well, why did you put it in there? It's making the house look bad. And it's like, well, no, it's not. It's being honest. It's putting the information in. And if you read, we said it's cosmetic. It's not an issue, and it's common in homes of this age in this area. It's not, So I think not being afraid to face the truth about the thing that you're dealing with. I mean, I know I probably shouldn't say it, but one of the things is I get calls from realtors all the time, and they go, your report made the house look bad. I'm like, no, your house made my report look bad. I didn't put the crack in the foundation.
No, the report
I didn't
is
put
the
the hole in the
report.
roof, And so, and here's the thing that agents don't get. We're not the bad guys. You're a listing agent. You do a lot of listings. Do you feel like we're trying to kill your deals?
No.
No, we're trying to help you avoid getting killed later.
Why do you think I call you? You're the inspector that I use. I don't use several inspectors. I use Tincture Consulting because of how the inspections are done, how your staff communicates with me, and how your staff communicates with my clients, and how easy to read your inspections are. There's no, wait a second, what are they talking about? And it's obvious when you said exceed expectations is our bare minimum. You're the only inspector that I know that has hyperlinks in your inspections. I can click on the words and it will fast forward me to a photo of what it's talking about with a more thorough explanation.
Diagrams, pictures, all of that. Yeah.
I remember the first inspection I ever saw when I got into real estate. I hadn't seen the house in person. It wasn't your company. It was a different inspector. I read the inspection and I was like, this house is a teardown. Like whoever buys this is going to have to scrape the earth and start over.
Right.
And I went to the house and I was like, oh, I get it. Like it's a cover your butt kind of thing, right? Like you put it all in there. There's dry rot on this piece of wood. There's dry rot on that piece of wood. The dry rot might be, the size of a quarter. And for someone like me who knows how to replace that or repair that, it's not a big issue. It's not a giant monetary output.
Right.
But like you said, if he doesn't put that in there, then nobody knows. And dry rot is something that can grow.
Yes.
And so you want to make sure that it's addressed, or at least you're notifying people of it. So I think we're going to wrap up for this one. What I really liked what you were talking about, setting expectations.
Yes.
And really just clear communication on the gravity or the non-severity of these issues, right? Because people like you and myself can really educate people on stuff. Somebody might see a report that says crack in foundation. Mm-hmm. And when they hear that, foundation, roof are two things that people get very, very scared of.
Right.
So maybe we can dig into that.
I think so. I think setting expectations, how to manage that, educating, I think is a big part of what we're trying to do. And I think that falls into the setting expectations is you're educating a person on this is what the process really is. And this is what that situation really is or really isn't. And so I think that's probably a good topic for our next conversation.
All right, cool.
Cool.
Love you, buddy.
Love you.
Good to see you. Yeah.